Marching on fire to the studio mics. Tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes. Analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair. Mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up? What's up? Back again, MMAniacs podcast. I'm Joe, joined as always by Bare Knuckle Ken. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not too much. What's up there, man?
Man, so let's talk about this pay-per-view. Like, without any further ado, right? Let's get into it. We were right and we were wrong, right? Like, everyone, I feel like, was kind of right and kind of wrong. You know, it was, we all felt, or at least, you know, here, you and I, we felt like Khamzat had a good chance to win, but if he was going to win, it was going to be like an early dominance kind of thing, right? And we both felt like the later the fight went, the more it favored Dricus, right? Yep. And that did not turn out to be the case. I
expected that much of a fucking dominating fight from fucking Khamzat. Like, I knew he was a good grappler, but holy fuck, this dude's wrestling is fucking world class.
Next level, dude. There's levels to this shit, and he just showed that.
Apparently, he's at the top.
Because, you know, like, Dricus himself is a decent grappler. I mean, we've seen him, you know, be able to grapple with guys who are considered good grapplers, and, you know, but, I mean, he was just, and to take nothing away from Dricus, he was a great champion. You know, on this show, even, you know, for you and I, we were just last week, we were talking about if he managed to get by Khamzat, that he was probably one fight away from surpassing Izzy's legacy at middleweight, right? So it's no disrespect at all to Dricus, but he was just completely outclassed in that fight. I mean, I guess in the fifth round when they got stood up for a bit and Dricus was able to land a few shots, you could say that was like the one moment in the fight where Dricus had a chance. But other than that, there wasn't a single moment in that fight.
The end of the fight, the ending of the fifth round there, it looked like Dricus was starting to kind of figure it out a little bit. Like, that's one fight that I actually could have gone for a couple more rounds of. Even though it was, you know, nothing but pretty much wrestle fuck. To me, it seemed like Dricus was starting to get the idea and being able to mount some kind of offense. It just was way too little, way too late.
I mean, for me, the only offense that I saw was when they stood him, when the referee Mark Goddard stood him up, and Dricus landed a couple shots. You could tell. I'll give Dricus this. You could tell when they stood him up and Dricus landed those couple shots that Khamzat did not want to strike with Dricus. Mm-hmm. Like he's and I don't know. I'm not going to say that he was afraid of striking with him or that he was, you know, intimidated by it.
What I think it supposedly was that he was talking to his corner in between the rounds there and was saying about how he wanted to do more striking with him. And they pretty much told him, absolutely not. You're dominating this fight wrestling. Continue to wrestle.
Yeah. And so I was going to say, I think it's more strategy. Like, Khamzat's wrestling made it abundantly clear early on that Dricus' only chance in that fight was if they were going to stand up. And so if you're Khamzat, and I don't know any fighter, I'll put it this way, I don't know any fighter in the UFC other than Max Holloway who can be dominating a fight and you're gonna go into the other guy's wheelhouse and say, okay, here, I'm gonna give you a chance to win. Max Holloway is the only one. Like, nobody else is gonna do that. Like, it was completely obvious to me Hamzat, like I think Hamzat could. I think he could strike with Dricus. I do think Dricus would get the better of it because he's got crazy hammer fists, dude. His hands are lethal weapons, dude. Like not technically, but just strength wise, like power. Dricus has some dumbass power, right? But why are you gonna allow this guy a chance in the fight when you're completely dominating him and he has nothing for you? I mean, I saw a funny comment on Reddit after the fight that said the last guy that spent that much time crucifixed was Jesus himself. You know, like it's like, yeah, it was hilarious because I mean he got into the crucifix position 3 or 4 times, dude. And okay, so one thing that I do want to talk about. One thing that I do want to talk about is there was a lot of people, and I don't call them fans, I call them casuals. There was a lot of casuals shitting on this fight, right? Saying it was the worst title fight they ever watched. Oh, it was a wrestle fuck.
Oh,
And
dude, it wasn't even
so
just
boring.
casual. There were a couple fighters that were even saying the same shit. Like, granted, it wasn't super entertaining from a striking standpoint, but I thought it was entertaining enough for a title fight.
So, look, was it the most exciting title fight we've ever seen? Absolutely not, right? Was it blood and guts? Absolutely not. But there are reasons for that. And the thing that kind of gets to me is these casuals that are like, oh, it was a boring fight. I'll never pay to watch Hamzat again. It's like, dude, Hamzat did what he needed to do to secure the fight, secure the title. Let's look at Hamzat's record, right? Like, does Hamzat have a record of just smothering people, like blanketing people like that? Are Hamzat's wins like all like that? No, that was the first time we've ever seen him actually do that. Hamzat is a finisher. That dude is always looking to finish. So I give him the benefit of the doubt, right? It was strategy. It was I'm gonna do what I'm gonna keep the fight in my wheelhouse, right? Where I know I have the advantage, and I'm not gonna allow. I think if anything, it says something about Dricus. It says that Hamzat respects Dricus enough, respects his game enough that he's like, I'm not gonna take a chance. Like I'm gonna do what I have to do to secure a victory. It's the Floyd Mayweather approach, right? Like I'm gonna throw as few punches as possible. I'm gonna just use my footwork and get out of here with a comfortable decision. And you know, if fans aren't entertained, I'm sorry. Like, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit here and it would be like Floyd Mayweather sitting there slugging it out. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna do that. Go ahead, Ken. I know you want to say something.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, the fight wasn't the usual. What a lot of the casual fans like to see is two guys just sitting there beating the absolute dog shit out of each other. But this is why it's called mixed martial arts. Emphasis on the mixed part of it is that it includes a hell of a lot of different aspects of the game. And for somebody to be that dominating in one specific aspect, of course, that's what you're going to go for, is what you're just absolutely crushing the guy. No, you're going to go and try and sit there and bang with him when you've been wiping the floor with him wrestling. I can agree with Hamzat's strategy with how much he was just kicking his fucking ass doing that.
And see, here's another. Hey, what's going on, Nick?
What up, fellas? I just want to make one quick point.
Yeah.
One, I love the fight. Two, we saw Dricus's people say in their training game, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna take Hamzat down. We're gonna beat him at his own game." That to me is what stuck out even more. So it was like, to me, it was more like a diss Hamzat. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna take me down? All right, bet. Let's see." You know what I mean? Like, we'll see about that. And what did we see? I mean, an absolute masterclass. Like, Dude, Hamzat, bro, he might not lose for a while if he's that locked in. Like, when
See,
Hamzat's locked in, bro, this has potential to be one of the greatest of all time because Dreesus is a problem, bro. Like, Dreesus is a good fighter. And he made him look like a schmuck. He made him
hey,
look like a
I'm
schmuck.
so glad. I'm so glad that somebody besides me gets to say this. So it's not just me being a Hamzat homer or whatever. Like, because dude,
He's
Dricus
different. He's different,
Is a
bro.
world class fighter. Nobody
Yeah,
is saying
bro.
that
He
he's not.
really is.
Ken and I just last week were saying that if Dricus found a way to get by Hamzat, he was possibly one fight away from surpassing Izzy's legacy at middleweight, which is no small feat. Like, Izzy is the second greatest middleweight of all time, behind only Anderson Silva. That's pretty much the consensus among hardcore MMA fans, people who understand the game, right? Izzy is considered like number 2 all time at middleweight. So for Dricus, the run that he was on, it was incredibly impressive. But Hamzat, the level of dominance that he displayed, I agree with you, Nick. I think it's going to be a while before Hamzat loses. But I will throw in one caveat. Dricus showed absolutely no jiu-jitsu in that fight. If I'm Dricus, before I take the rematch against Hamzat, I'm calling Craig Jones, just like Jack Della Maddalena did. I'm calling Craig Jones, and I'm like, hey, bro, can you teach me a guard? Like, can you teach me how to guard? Because obviously my guard wasn't working, dude. It wasn't shit, right?
Yeah.
But the way that he was able to crucifix him over and over. And here's one thing that I want to clear up too. So, Ken, you were talking about that there were even a couple fighters that were saying that fight was shit. It was boring, right? But you have to look at who's doing the talking, right? It was Paulo Costa. It was Sean Strickland. Both guys who happened to fight in
Don't want to
Hamzat's
be
weight
that
class.
type of fighter. Yeah, they don't want to get on the ground.
They don't want to get on the ground, and they're both in Hamzat's sights. They're both guys that fight in his division, that are contenders in his division, that he's eventually going to have to go up against, right? So you look at Demetrius Johnson, who has no dog in the race, right? And what did he say? He said, if you don't like watching grappling, don't watch MMA. Like, this is mixed martial arts. Exactly like you said, Ken. Like, nobody was bitching when Khabib was out there wet blanketing motherfuckers. Nobody was bitching. They were talking about, oh, Khabib's the greatest, this and that, right? His style it wasn't for everyone, but nobody could deny his greatness, right? Like, now, there are debates among people who watch the sport religiously, like some of us do. Like, there are debates about where Khabib falls all time, like as far as how his record stacks up. Yeah, he's 30-0, but he's lacking those marquee wins that kind of put him up there with the GOATs, in my opinion. But nevertheless, he's a great champion.
That's definitely true.
I think Islam has already surpassed him, in my opinion. Just because of the level of competition that he's facing.
That he's beat, yeah.
And that he's beat. Although, I do, Islam moving up to welterweight just as Topuria was coming in is kind of sus to me, dude. Like, I think that would have been the perfect capstone on his 155 career, to fight Topuria, beat Topuria, possibly. And, that would have been a great capstone. So the fact that he didn't stick around, it kind of leads me to believe that he knows how dangerous that fight is for him. And he's like Khabib. He's like, I'm not taking an L. Like, I'd rather go up and dominate another division than risk taking an L with this knockout artist, right?
Well, isn't it great that somebody got followed up?
But back to this Hamzat Dricus fight, right? Like, Hamzat, one of the complaints about the fight was that people felt that Hamzat wasn't really trying to finish, that he was content to just sit in the position, control, and take. He didn't risk anything. He wasn't really willing to risk the position to try to finish the fight. And I just want to say that that's a casual response. If you actually go back and watch the fight, Hamzat, when he had him crucifixed, He was trying to elbow his face. The problem is Dricus is smart. He's not going to leave his freaking face out there to get elbow smashed. So what was he doing? He was tucking his head up under Khamzat's bicep and shoulder to where now it's like
You're taking
human
minimal
body,
damage. Yeah,
yeah,
you're
the
taking
human
minimal
body can't
damage.
physically do it. It can't. Khamzat's arm can't physically reach that, like with his head in there to do the damage that he wants to do, right? Khamzat was trying to finish. I mean, how long did he spend on his back trying to work that choke in there, dude? Like, different hands. He would, he'd go with the right arm, then he'd go with the left arm, then he'd go with the right arm. Like, he was trying to finish that fight. The problem is, Dricus did a really, really good job in camp of defending that neck. Dricus knew coming in, okay, this dude is going to try to choke me. He's going to try to rear naked choke me. So I would not be surprised if Dricus spent the majority of his camp with somebody on his back trying to choke him, and he worked and worked and worked on not getting choked. So that's props to Dricus. His neck defense was excellent. I just wish he would have spent a lot more time in guard. Because I think spending some time in guard would have made it a much more entertaining fight. And this is the caveat, going back to what Nick said, that there's a chance that Khamzat doesn't lose for a good while. The only caveat I would put to that is I want to see how he does against a really good jiu-jitsu guy. Because when he fought Gilbert Burns, who is a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, Gilbert was able to make Khamzat stand up with him for a good chunk of that fight.
Yep. I was going to say we cover mostly football, but Joe and I dip into the MMA too.
Yeah, this is me and Ken's baby right here. So welcome, Jax 904. So yeah, like it's interesting because like Gilbert was able to use his guard to keep Khamzat at bay and not get dominated like on the back. He didn't, it was like he was able to make it a much more competitive fight. So I want to see how Khamzat does. Yeah, I agree. It was a very close fight. It was probably Khamzat's toughest of his career. Maybe Usman. You could argue Usman was a tough fight too, but I want to see how Khamzat does against the guy who actually knows what he's doing in jiu-jitsu. Like, I think that could make it a very entertaining fight. The problem is, let's look at the 185 top 10 right now. Who's a really, really good jiu-jitsu guy? Can you pull up the top 10 right now, Nick? Or Ken?
Yep.
I know Paulo and Whitaker and Sean Strickland want to fight him, which I don't see that. I mean, for Sean Strickland to beat Khamzat, he'd have to knock him out. He'd have to pull a McGregor on Aldo, knock him out in the first 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah,
that won't happen.
That's not going to happen. Paulo hasn't won a
Paulo ain't
fight.
beating him either. No way.
Paulo hasn't won a fight in how long, dude?
God knows how long.
So he's not even in the conversation for a title shot. And even if he was, I mean, look how Izzy finished Paulo. Like, do you think that Khamzat is going to do any less? Like,
Khamzat would beat the life out of him.
Khamzat
would manhandle him.
Man, he like, for all intents and purposes, Khamzat stunned Dricus. Like, does anybody like disagree that Khamzat absolutely stunned him? Like,
Definitely
it was like a kid wrestling his dad. Like, he just stunned him, dude. Like, So, and Dricus is a fairly decent grappler, like we talked about. He's a pretty good defensive wrestler, I should say, a pretty good defensive wrestler. His grappling, his jiu-jitsu leaves something to be desired, because Dricus was making white belt mistakes, dude. Number one, when you're in side control on the bottom, and take this from me, a one-stripe white belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, never, ever, ever put your arm between their legs, because you're basically crucifixing yourself, number one. It's also a good way to wrist lock yourself. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
I did it more than once, dude, against purple belts. Like, wrist locked myself and had to tap to myself because I stuck my arm in between their legs from side control. Like, Dricus had no frames. Frames are like day one white belt shit. Like, a frame is where you put your when a guy has you in side control, you turn into him. You turn your hips away from him, your body into him. You put your left arm on his shoulder, your right hand on his hip, and you use your frames to try to work your knee shield in so that you can get back to guard, right? You bridge, you explode, you put your knee shield in, you get back to guard. There was absolutely none of that. Dricus didn't even attempt it. So it was like his jiu-jitsu game is severely lacking, dude. And so I'm glad to hear his coach said, "No, we don't want the rematch right now. We need to go work on our grappling for the, we're going to go do some grappling first."
Oh, didn't you hear all in the lead up to this fight? Well, Dricus wrestled when he was younger, so he's still got good wrestling and can put it up with Hamzat and all that. Well, that looked like that was so long ago he forgot absolutely everything he fucking learned.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these middleweight rankings, bro. No one's beating him, bro. No one's beating Hamzat for a while.
They're going to have to wait for a whole. Well, hold on. So there is one guy.
Imavov, maybe.
No, I don't. I think Hamzat handles Imavov just fine. But this is actually a perfect segue because we've kind of dissected Hamzat and Dricus, right? But there's a new era, a new wave coming into the UFC right now. The Fighting Nerds, right? The Fighting Nerds, in my opinion, are the best mixed martial arts team in the UFC right now. And I think that there's a really strong chance. I'm gonna go ahead and make a not so crazy prediction. At least two of these guys are going to be fighting for titles in the next year. At least two, maybe more, because these guys are all killers. You know who we're talking about, right, Nick?
No.
Okay,
Off the top of my head.
Okay, so check them out. Like Google them, the Fighting Nerds. There's a group of. They're all Brazilians. There's a group of these Brazilians, and they all wear the nerd glasses in the octagon before and after the fight, right? But they're absolute killers, bro. Like that's their little gimmick. They wear these nerd glasses without the lenses. They got masking tape or got tape on them.
Word. Okay.
I was gonna say Carlos that just knocked the dude out with the spinning back elbow. He's one of them.
Yeah, the guy who one of the dudes who finished with spinning elbow. The dude who finished Jeff Neal the other night with the spinning back elbow. He's one of the fighting.
Okay. Yep. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. That he's one of them. Gotcha. Because I was like, yo, my boy looked like a.
He looked like a dork, right? But he's a killer.
He don't fight like a dork.
He don't fight like a dork. That's what I'm saying. These Fighting Nerds are no joke, bro. And Ken, you pulled up the roster, right? Let's go through the roster of the Fighting Nerds because I do believe at least 2 or 3 of these guys are going to be fighting for titles in the next year.
And let me just say, I love how you have me read the fucking Brazilian names that I can barely pronounce over here.
Well, I'll help you out if I can.
Well, we got Carlos there that we just saw this past pay-per-view. You got Marcirio. Wow, I can't even pronounce it. Marcio Ruffy.
Hoofy. Mauricio Hoofy.
Hoofy, okay.
Hoofy, and what's his weight class? He's either 170 or 185, I think.
Yeah, he's lightweight.
Oh, he's lightweight. He's 55. Okay. So you got Hoofy. Hoofy's a killer. He's coming off a knockout, a fast knockout in his last fight.
Yeah, and you got Silva.
You got John Silva, who just absolutely destroyed Bryce Mitchell. Just absolutely.
Yeah, I remember. I know that name. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that. Remember that standing guillotine he put on him? It was like more like a standing guard.
Yeah, bro. Different. Them Brazilian MMA fighters are different, bro.
Especially the Fighting Nerd. So you got Hoofy, you got John Silva, you've got keep going. I think Pradas, you got Carlos Pradas too.
Yeah, and you got Chow. I couldn't even begin to.
Yeah, Kyle. It's Barrio. I think it's Barrio.
You put that many vowels next to a name, I'm fucking lost.
Okay, so Kyle. Now Kyle, I think he's fighting middleweight, right? He's 185. Can you check that real quick?
Yeah, he's middleweight.
Okay, so Kyle is one guy that I think can challenge Hamzat because Kyle, if I'm correct, I believe I am. Kyle is
Kyle Baralio.
Kyle Baralio. Yeah,
Baralio, yeah.
he got his black belt in jiu-jitsu faster than like most people on the planet, dude. He got his black belt in like 5 years or something like that.
That's
Like
absurd.
from walking, bro. Do you have any idea how
I
talented
know.
you have to be?
I know
To
someone who's legit, and it didn't take them that long. Yeah, not
Bro,
even
I'm talking,
close.
yeah, and I'm
Not
not.
even close.
I'm talking to the audience too. Like,
Oh yeah, bro, that's
do you
absurd.
know how talented
Five.
you have to be to walk into a gym as a zero stripe white belt on day one and walk out with a black belt 5 years later? That even 7 years later, like you
Yeah, I
have
was
to
about to
be,
say. I know someone it took them 7 years.
and that's still incredible, dude. The average time is 10 to 14 years to get a black belt, dude.
Yeah.
BJ Penn got it in like 5. And we all know who BJ Penn is, dude. Like his jujitsu is legendary, dude. So Kyle is that's why I said, and Kyle's part of the fighting nerds, so he can stand up too. Like he can bang, dude. Like
Oh, but he's
that's
a
why I
problem
said,
on the ground.
but he's a problem on the ground, and that's why I want to see him in Hamzat because I think that a good jujitsu guy can give Hamzat problems, or at least if not give him problems, at least keep him from absolutely wrestle fucking him to death and make him force him to stand up and fight.
And
Like
who's this
Gilbert Burns
Polish
was able
guy?
to do.
Who's this Polish guy I'm reading about? Michael Oleksiewicz, I think his name is. Michael. Some Polish kids in there. So he got to be nice because all these dudes are Brazilians. You got a Polish guy in there. He got to be a problem.
Yeah, I think he fought last. I think he fought on Saturday too, on the undercard. But yeah,
I couldn't catch the undercard. I was vexed. I was working. Sometimes, bro, the undercard fights are better than the main card sometimes.
sometimes. So,
Sometimes, yeah.
so you got look. So far, we're talking about the fighting nerds. You got John Silva. You got Mauricio Hufi. You got Kyle Barrio, right? Who is like got his black belt faster than 95% of the world.
Thiago Moises
Thiago Moises.
and
You got, I
Carlos
think,
Prates.
and
Carlos
Pratis.
Prates.
Pratis is the other guy. Pratis just won on Saturday as well, in a dominating fashion, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of killers on that team, bro, and I really do. And the thing is, most of them fight at different weight classes. They're all the way from featherweight up to I think light heavyweight, dude. Like it's like they have a guy for every division. You know what I mean? Like I really believe their plan is to come in and take all the belts. Like they're gonna have like their team
Oh,
have like 5 or 6 champions on it.
this Baralio guy, we could see him and Hamzat maybe next
Yeah,
year
but
this time.
I think Kyle needs a couple more wins. What is he
But
ranked right now?
potentially.
I
like,
think he was
potentially.
like 12th. Let me see. Oh no, he's 7th. But
Okay.
he did drop down the rankings one, but that's just because Hernandez moved up.
Yeah. So Kyle, his next fight could really put him in contention if he fights up the rankings. Let's say
And that's the
fights
kid
the
who got
number
his black belt
4.
in 5 years.
Yeah. If he goes up the rankings and fights like 4, if he fights number 4 or number 3 and he comes out with a win, he could be next for Hamzat, dude.
Guess who's 3 and 4 right now? Strickland's 3, Izzy's 4.
I don't think they'll give him Izzy because I think they
They don't
want
want to set Izzy up for the L.
they don't
Well,
want to set Izzy
I
up.
was going to say Izzy's already on the backswing of his career. Do you really want to tarnish his legacy a little more by just having to get dominated on the ground?
I'll say one thing: if Strickland really wants Hamzat, him beating a guy like Baralio would warrant him that type of fight. a very strong jiu-jitsu guy. Like if he beats him, it's like, all right, and you're third already. That probably gets you a title shot.
Yeah, I would think so. You can't give Strickland the see. Here's the thing: is out of that top 5, how many of these guys are coming off losses? Right? Like Imavov is number 1, I think, and Imavov is coming off the win over
After
Adesanya.
Duplessis, yeah, after Duplessis, yep.
Yeah.
Oh, is Duplessis ranked number 1 now?
Yep.
Well, I'm going off the UFC rankings. It's
Yep,
the
that's what I'm
champion, then
going
it's the
to.
number 1 contender, and Duplessis 1, Imavov is 2, Strickland's 3, Izzy's 4, De Ritter's 5, Hernandez is 6, and Baralio 7, and Robert Whitaker's 8.
Okay, so Hernandez is
But the
coming off.
champion's the champion. Yeah, yeah. That's how the
Hernandez is
UFC.com
coming
has it.
off
Yeah.
a huge win.
Mhm.
Imavov is coming off the win over Izzy. So those are 2 guys who could realistically get a shot. And Hernandez, with how emphatic his win was, I think it's possible they could put him in there with Hamzat next, because of the way that he won, how emphatic it was. But Strickland is coming off a loss to Duplessis, so it doesn't make any sense to give Strickland a title shot off the back of a title shot that he lost. Right?
Yeah, yeah. He's gonna have to beat someone
He's
good.
gonna have to beat someone, maybe 2, but at least 1. He's gonna have to beat somebody. So I agree with you. I think Kyle would be a good test for Strickland. 2 completely different styles, right? Strickland is that technical boxer, doesn't really want to wrestle that much. Kyle is a really strong jiu-jitsu guy who also can stand up. Kyle is probably, going to want to get it to the ground. He's not going to want to sit there and play that tactical chess match with Strickland as far as like who can land the most jabs. Like that's not really going to want to be his game, right? He's going to want to create scrambles where he can sink something. He can catch something, catch an arm or catch a leg. So that would be an interesting fight. Imavov, I don't think Imavov has a whole lot to offer Hamzat, to be honest with you. Like, I think that's an absolute domination. I wish Izzy would just
That would need a knockout real fast. He would need a knockout real fast.
Or getting strangled. Like, I could see him getting strangled because Imavov can box, and he knocked out Izzy, but I just don't think I think that Hamzat's not going to play that game with him. He's not going to sit there and stand up with him. He's just going to take him down and strangle him like he would anyone else. I think the only people who have a real shot against Hamzat are people that aren't going to just get strangled the second they get to the ground. It's going to be a jiu-jitsu guy whose jiu-jitsu is able to keep Hamzat honest. It's able to force him to go back to the feet. I think that's going to be who has success against Hamzat. In my opinion, and that's just my opinion.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Someone who can kind of level off the jiu-jitsu game and be that type of threat to Hamzat, where it's like, yo, you can't take me down. You're gonna have to knock me out.
Exactly. You're gonna have to box with me because if you take me down, I'm constantly threatening submission. Like I'm either gonna try to armbar you, like you're gonna put yourself in danger. And Hamzat is a very smart fighter. So once he realizes, oh, okay, this dude's jiu-jitsu game is top notch, I better just stand up and knock him out. And that's when we'll get to see the kind of bloody war that we want with Hamzat. But until
that fight with Burns, to me, that was the most I saw him testing.
Yeah. And why was that? It's because Burns is a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, and Hamzat wasn't able to just get in a position and dominate him like that. Burns was using his guard to keep Hamzat at bay to where he, can keep Hamzat, keep the space, and work his way back to his feet. And he even threatened a couple submissions, and Hamzat was able to escape the submissions, but it made him realize, like, okay, it's kind of a stalemate on the ground. So I better, we're going to have to bang this out. So, yeah, I think it's going to take a Gilbert Burns type of fighter, Gilbert Burns level of jiu-jitsu type of fighter to really give Hamzat problems. And I think Kaio could be that guy. But who do they match Kaio with? Like, Strickland would be a good one. I don't think they're going to give him Imavov because Imavov is coming off a win. Imavov might want to wait and just say, hey, I'm the number 2 guy. I deserve a title shot, right?
Yeah.
De Ritter would be, I mean,
Fine, kind of thing.
I don't think De Ritter gets it done. Like, if they were to match Kyle with De Ritter, it sounds like a great fight, but I don't think beating the number 5 guy is going to get him a title shot. That's the problem for Kyle. It's like they might want 2 more. They might want 2 more fights out of Kyle. You know what I mean? Like they match him up with De Ritter, and then it's like all of a sudden he's got to beat another guy, like either an Izzy or Strickland or some Imavov, somebody like that. If I'm Kyle, I want to go up to at least number 4 or number 3. Like, give me Strickland right now. You know?
Yeah. I'm looking at it the way I'm looking at it right now. Who's going to be more dominant in their weight class? Will it be Ilya or will it be Hamza?
Ilya.
I'm going to hold out I'm not going to make a call on that one because Ilya hasn't defended the title yet. In 55, you know, like there's still guys at 55, although I think 55 we're starting to see the changing of the guard, you know. It's like Max is on the tail end of his career, Dustin just retired, Gaethje's about to retire. That's 3 of the top 5 right there. Or I think they had Poirier at 6. But you know, we have to wait for a new batch of killers to come up at 55. And Hoofy is getting into that picture too. And honestly, like I would like to see Hoofy fight Topuria. I think give Hoofy a couple more 1 or 2 more fights. Where's Hoofy? Is he in the top 10 yet? At 55?
Let me check. Give me 1 second. Let me pause my Madden real quick. Ilya. Ilya.
Yeah, I don't see him. Oh wait, no, he's at 15.
Okay. So
Yep,
he's got a few more fights, right? He just broke the top 15. So I would say his next fight, he's probably looking to fight up to 12, 11. You know, that's where I would be shooting at least. Right? If not higher. I mean, if they give me the number 9 guy, I'd take it, you know. Try to get into that top 10 as quick as possible. But you also got Patty out there, right? Like Patty is looking for a fight. Let's go through who's in the top 10 right now at 55. Like Dustin's
at 55,
out.
So
Dustin's out.
We got Ilya, Islam. Ilya's the champ. Islam 1, Arman 2, Max 3.
Hold on. Islam is still ranked?
Yep.
Let's take Islam out. Because Islam's gonna be he's gonna fight at 70 next. We know
he's moving up to yeah. All right, so Arman.
There's a possibility. I guess he could come back to 55, but he's gonna fight at least 1 fight at 70 first, right? So he's not in the picture right now. So you got Arman, right?
Max, Charles,
who
Gaethje.
Ilya already knocked Charles out bad.
Yep.
He already knocked Max out bad.
Gaethje.
He's about to knock Gaethje out bad.
And then Dan Hooker.
He'll kill Hooker.
Patty. Then Gamrot. Then Benil Darush. Rafael Fiziev. Moisano. Then Michael Chandler. Then Benoit Saint Denis. And then Grant Dawson. And then Hoofy.
See, who in that group do you think provides even somewhat of a challenge to Topuria?
No one.
Maybe
Hoofy. Maybe this kid Hoofy you're telling me about.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I'm thinking maybe Patty, and that's
maybe Patty, dude. And the only reason I say that is because it's not because of the striking. It's because Patty has a world-class jiu-jitsu game, dude. And Patty has a freaking crazy chin. Like, I know he gets clipped in every fight, and it looks like he's on the verge of getting knocked out.
Bro.
Yeah,
He
No.
hits as hard as
I
Ilya.
was going to
That's a
say
match
Taporia might be too much for him to handle.
He might be, but I think it's worth finding out.
Oh, absolutely. I have no
and-
problem watching Taporia knock Patty out.
Or there's always that other possibility
Yeah, there's
where
or Patty takes him down.
Patty takes it and then takes him down, and Patty strangles him, dude. Like, or Patty puts some sort of submission on, because Patty's jiu-jitsu game is top notch, bro. Like, I do believe he's one of the more underrated jiu-jitsu guys in mixed martial arts.
I can agree there, but I think Taporia's got enough on the ground where he could at least get himself out of the bad position.
Here's where I don't know that. I know that Topuria can wrestle. I know he can grapple. But here's one: attributes matter. And Patty is very, very long. Like, one thing, so when he beat Chandler, I know that Chandler is not really a top-notch win at this point, right? Like, Chandler is a gatekeeper at best. He kind of always has been. But one thing I really liked about that Patty versus Chandler fight was how Patty was able to use his length, use his kicks. Patty fought very long, right? He took advantage of the fact that he's got long limbs, and he was able to keep distance really well, and then exploit that. And then eventually, he got into the scrambles that he wanted. So I think if you look at Topuria, he's a very short guy. His arms are not crazy long. His legs are not crazy long. He doesn't have the attributes that Patty has, right? And that, to me, makes the fight interesting, because I know that Topuria has the great equalizer, right?
That's what I was about to bring up. He's as strong as a fucking mule, and strength sometimes beats technique.
Oh, strength can beat technique, but it doesn't happen very often, and the strength advantage has to be so much more obvious. And here's the other thing. This is where Patty's attributes come into play, because if you have long enough legs, it doesn't matter how strong that guy is. Like, take it from a guy. I train with short legs. I have short legs. So triangles are not my game, dude, right? But we have a guy in my gym he's like 6'2" or 6'3", and he's got long ass legs, bro. Try getting out of his triangle. I don't care how strong you are, dude. Like, you are not, once he clamps that triangle down, you are not getting out. Once he takes that arm bar, his legs are so far over your head when he clamps, like, bro, you are not getting that arm out. Like, legs are stronger than arms. Do we agree? Okay, so that's
more
my
times
point.
than not, yeah, absolutely. That's
So
why people tend to squat more than they bench.
yeah, that's my point. So Patty, with those long legs, I think if he's able to cinch up a triangle or an arm bar, I don't think
It's
Ilya's
over
getting
for him.
out.
He's gonna snap him like a twig.
I don't think he's getting out. The problem is
not.
The problem for Patty is he's got to get it to the ground. That's the problem for Patty. Is like you have to avoid those Mike Tyson shots. Like, he's got to bob and weave, dude, and try to get Ilya on the ground, and that's easier said than done. Like, and then when he does get him, if he does get him to the ground, Ilya is no slouch on the ground either. But I think that fight on the ground is compelling, is all I'm saying. Like, I'm not picking Patty to beat Ilya. I think it presents a compelling matchup if circumstances break Patty's way where it ends up on the ground. I like Patty's chances, is what I'm saying. If Patty can stay long, like in the stand-up game, if he can stay long, if he can keep Topuria at a distance with his kicks, I think that bodes well for Patty, and eventually force. This would be like my ideal strategy. If I was Patty Pimblett and I'm fighting Ilya, I'm going to keep front kicking him in the chest. I'm going to kick his legs. I'm going to side kick him in the stomach. I'm going to keep him at legs distance, at kicking distance, as long as I can, until he realizes, like, okay, he's not going to box with me. so I'm going to have to try another way and force Ilya to take him down, because now you can create the scrambles that you need. If you're Patty, you're going to catch something off a scramble. Like, I don't see Patty jumping in for a double leg on Ilya and taking him down, and I don't see that happening, right? So you got to force Ilya to take you down, which is going to be difficult, but not impossible. That's all I'm saying. But other than that, who really in the top 15 besides, I think Hoofy provides an interesting fight because his stand-up is really good. It's just nobody hits like Ilya, man. That's the one thing that you have to keep factoring in is like all Ilya has to do is just touch you and you're going to sleep. And here's the thing.
Like a Mack truck.
And here's the thing. Ilya doesn't just hit like a Mack truck. It's not like a Tank Abbott where it's like a wild, sloppy haymaker, but the power is there. Ilya has pinpoint precision.
Absolutely. I was going to say that too. His accuracy is fucking insane. The only one I'd say that's more accurate than him is fucking Max.
That left hook that he hit Charles with to put him out, dude, it was, I mean, you couldn't ask for you couldn't paint a picture better, dude. Like, you know what I mean? It was like the way he found that chin, it was just so perfect. The punch was so tight. It was so technical. You know, his technical striking is flawless, dude. So
yeah, it was so perfect. Fucking Charles's eyes read tilt after.
Bro, I mean, he was out before he ever touched the ground. Like, he was already done.
I was going to say that was one of the hardest knockouts I've seen. It obviously wasn't, you know, the most devastating, but it was fucking up there.
I mean, for me, it was one of the most impressive knockouts I've seen because Charles has been clipped before. You know, Charles's chin is not fantastic. It's good enough, but the way that Ilya just like put it right exactly where it needed to be flawlessly, dude, like Charles had no chance. The second that punch was an inch away, Charles was already like, oh shit. Like he knew, like lights out, you know. You made a mistake, bud. You dropped the hand, and now you're going to pay. So I think Hoofy could provide a compelling fight, but really I think the era of lightweight being the most entertaining and dominant division is over. Ilya will keep, maybe not most entertaining because Ilya is going to go on a run of bum slaying. Like he's going to be knocked. I hate to say it that way, but come on, man. Like, Ilya is going to go on a run of knocking out subpar contenders until he gets like a Hoofy or, you know, if he gets by Patty is a legit contender. But
I'm still hoping we get to see him in Islam.
Yeah, I think that fight will happen at some point, but it's only if
I'm hoping it happens relatively soon-ish. Because I don't want to see it where freaking Islam's already over the hill or something like that.
Well, he's going to retire soon, dude. He's already said he's got like 2 years left in him. It could be like Topuria defends the title once or twice, and then he just jumps up to welterweight so that he can get that shot at Islam. It would not surprise me if Topuria chases Islam up to 70. And then what is Islam going to do? Is he going up to 85? Like, good luck, Islam. Like, I feel like Islam, you know, he has a good chance at 70 of not only being competitive, but possibly dominating that division, right? But it's going to be harder than 55. But he has no chance at 85, dude. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, you know, can you imagine Islam versus Hamzat? I know that fight's not going to happen because they won't fight each other. But I'm just saying, like, to provide context, right?
That'd be insane.
But why would it be insane? You think it would be a good fight?
Hell yeah, Islam versus Hamzat. Islam would have to obviously gain.
I think you're looking at like an NCAA wrestling championship type of fight.
I don't. I think you're looking at a fucking WWE squash match.
What, Islam versus Hamzat?
Yeah. I think Hamzat absolutely destroys Islam. Not even a question, dude. Like, just destroys him, dude.
He'd have to gain a good amount of weight to get in that fight, but
Look, dude, here's the problem, right? Islam cuts to 55. 70 is probably his natural weight class. So Islam is like going in there. He's probably like 170, 180 on fight night, right? 180, let's say. Hamzat
yeah.
cuts to 85, dude. On fight night, Hamzat's going to be 205. He's going to be 205 against Islam's 180, 185. Because Islam's going to have to gain weight to go to 85. He's going to have to like double dinners. He's going to have to bulk up and put muscle on, dude. And then he's still going to be outweighed by 15 to 20 pounds on fight night. And Hamzat is probably 4 or 5 inches taller than him. And Hamzat hits like a fucking train too. So, like, I don't like Islam's chances. Like, I know we all think Islam is great, but there are weight classes for a reason, dude. And I don't think Islam is going all the way up to 85. But the whole reason this conversation came about is because is he running from Ilya? Did he run from Ilya at 55? There's speculation. There's people that are saying it doesn't look good. It looks a little sus, right? So
when
now it's
Hamzat's locked in, bro, he might not lose for years.
Years.
Realistically, years.
And we said this. Ken and I said this last week. Go ahead, Ken.
Are we talking about an Anderson Silva type of run here?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe.
But
maybe, just maybe.
Except without all the fancy like knee knockouts and stuff. Like, there'll be some like a lot of stranglehold dominations. Like absolute like wrestle fuck strangle chokeouts. Like he'll dominate people. And then the people that he can stand with and bang, he'll stand and bang. Like if he likes his chances on the feet, he'll stand and bang. If he feels like they might get the better of him on the feet, he'll take them down. Hamzat's a smart guy. He's not gonna risk too much. So I do believe he has the potential to go on a crazy run, dude. But I'll say it again, dude. I think Kaio, if there's one guy in that whole division that can give him a run, I think it's Kaio, dude. Just because of the jiu-jitsu life.
Yeah, it's that next level. I mean, 5 years to get a black belt is just what, bro?
And he's not just like he didn't go to a McDojo and get a 5-year black belt. Like who trained him? Can we see who trained him?
Hold on.
I don't know if it was Marcelo Alonso or it's somebody who's like in Brazil, I believe, who's like world class, like former world champion, great legacy kind of guy, I believe.
Who's ranked number 1 pound for pound in the world right now? Is it Hamzat now, or is it still Ilya?
It's probably Islam or Ilya.
It's Wagner Moura.
Wagner Moura. You know what? I don't know that name, but again, I'm not the encyclopedia on jiu-jitsu. Like I know some, but I don't know everything.
I think Ilya is the number 1 pound per pound in the world right now.
But I do think jiu-jitsu could be Hamzat's foil. I think for a guy
you're gonna have to match him in that game.
Ilya is number 1 for pound.
Islam number 2.
Yep. And Merab 3. And Hamzat 4.
Hamzat 4. Interesting. So what do you notice about that? Look at that list again. Ilya number 1, Hamzat or Islam 2, Merab 3, Hamzat 4. What do they all have in common?
Great ground
Although
game.
although we haven't seen it a lot from Ilya.
Great ground. Oh, bro, that's another one. Marab might not lose for a while either.
I could see him going on some type.
Marab might go on a little run too, low key.
Yeah,
Umar could give him a run for his money. But
I think Umar is the only one.
yeah,
I think he's
other than that, no one's really
by,
fucking with him.
I think he's going to get by Sandhagen fairly easily. Although Sandhagen is a great fighter, though I'm not taking anything away from him. I just don't think that he's going to be able to hang with the pressure. Marab's constant pressure and attack, like.
well, when the guy's got a fucking car engine instead of a fucking heart.
Yeah, bro, for real.
It still shocks me how great that guy's cardio is.
You know who else is going on a pretty impressive run right now is Pantoja. Like, it's kind of as quiet as it's been kept. I mean, he's defended the title a few times now, and he's done it impressively. Like, Alexandre Pantoja he's on an impressive run, and there's not a lot of depth at flyweight. Like, so he has potential to go on a crazy run too. You know, so, but like I said, I really believe the fighting nerds, I think within the next year, at least 2 or 3 of those guys are going to be fighting for belts. I think Kyle has a shot. I think Hoofy has a shot. Prodis is coming off a big win. John Silva is where's John Silva? So he just sunned Bryce Mitchell, and I think he's already in the top 10. So Silva should be coming up, like one more fight, maybe two more fights.
He's 10th in featherweight.
So 2 more fights, right? And he should be there.
Fighting Volko. Woo!
Bro, I like Silva's chances. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, his striking, he showed you his jiu-jitsu already, right? Like, with what he did to Bryce Mitchell. But his striking, too. Like, John Silva has some nasty knockouts, bro. And that's if Volk gets by Laron Murphy. Did you see Laron Murphy the other night?
Mm-mm.
What he did to Aaron Pico?
I literally only had time to watch the last 2 fights of the night.
Okay, so Aaron
I'll be right back.
Pico.
Give me 1 second.
Aaron Pico was he was a guy in Bellator.
Oh
he was making his debut, and he was fighting good against Laron Murphy, but he kept rushing in there with his face in there, and I was telling my buddies, I'm like, dude, he's gonna get clipped because he keeps rushing in there, and sure enough, dude, he walked right into a spinning elbow.
That one was the fucking most nastiest fucking elbow of the fucking night.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That one took him like a good 3 to 5 minutes to recover from. Just
bro,
and by recover, I mean just enough to be able to stand. Let me phrase it properly.
He was out for a long time, dude. He was KO'd. He was KO'd cold, like he was sleeping for a couple minutes. Like, and that's wild, dude. He walked right into it. The thing was, in my opinion, he was winning that first round. Mm-hmm. He was getting the better of the exchanges, but he kept rushing in there with his chin like this, like, and I'm like, dude, where's your defense, bro? You got it. This is the UFC. You might be able to get away with that in Bellator, but not in the UFC, bro. You know, especially against a guy as explosive as Laron Murphy. Like, you gotta protect your chin at all times, man, because it only takes one shot. Like, we sit here as like sideline guys and we talk about a guy's power that's in the UFC, but the fact is, every one of those guys in the UFC could knock any one of us out, like in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like, even the most pillow-fisted guy could knock us out. But we sit here and like, oh, that guy's got no power, right? It's like, no, it's that hard to do.
No power comparatively.
Yeah, comparatively. Unfortunately, we're out of time, though. So we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week to talk some more.
Take care, fellas. Much love.
Yeah, much love. Come back next week if you want, man. Thank you guys for joining us. Spread the word. Tell your friends about our show. Share it on Facebook, whatever, on any social media that you have if you like the show and and you want to get the word out there, we're trying to grow our viewership. But we'll see you guys next week.